Dino.
Salutation to the big chief.
How are you?
I'm very good. You're a little bit in the dark.
I'm always in the dark.
Makes you
My hands are bright.
look right. I don't know if this is okay. Yes. Yes.
Connection. It's either my side or your side. Your audio is not coming through clearly.
It says your internet connection is unstable. Not much I can do about this. I don't know. I can restart the machine. I don't know.
Not necessarily you. It could be me. It's one of us. Maybe both of us.
I can measure my computer connection as we speak.
I can do that as well. When I have measured it here, this machine has been getting about 200 megabit plus downlink and about 30 megabit uplink.
That's unbelievable.
So my ping is 8 milliseconds. My download is much worse. My download is, it's better now. It's about 260 megabit. 250 megabit.
No, I'm the problem. For some reason, this is very low now today, and I can I don't know, call the guys or.
And my uplink is 28 megabits. So yeah,
yeah, go ahead. My downloading speed is up to about 10. But it should be 30
10 should be fine. It should
in any case,
perfect. 10 is plenty good enough.
Then we leave with it.
Unless you have a video turned on, yeah. Oh well. Let's see if Photo says 5 more minutes for him. I sent around a outline yesterday, about some collaborology topics I wanted to present and at least get some structure into the space. I feel that there's been quite a bit of distraction disallowing us from really engaging on Wednesdays. But I still am optimistically looking forward to it every Wednesday, other than the fact that I am also distracted by the moving that is imminent.
If you want to turn today into Wednesday, that's also quite fine. If you would like, because we skipped a couple of Wednesdays, if you would like to, you speak today and I speak next Thursday, that's fine.
Well, let's see how that sits with Frode. Just as an FYI, my move to Seattle is now official. It's going to happen. I got the paperwork from eGain yesterday, and I submitted a deposit on a place that I'm going to rent. Hopefully I can do more than rent over time, but right now I'm renting. And my official move date is June 22nd. So it's about, 10 plus 30, 40 days from now. Almost 6 weeks from now.
Geez, okay, but last time you said that you had about 3 places that you liked and that you were negotiating the first.
Yes.
So that came through. Basically what you're saying is you're in, right?
I got the first, yes. It's actually the place that I like the most. It's also the place that's, of the 3, one of the more remote places. It's about 80 to 85 minutes from Seattle. And it's about an hour and a half from Seattle Airport. So if you come in, I pick you up, it'll take about an hour and a half to get to my place. But I love the place. And
my sense is that this is a move into peace and Tai Chi and deepening.
Oh, you should see the feng shui. You should see the location of this place. Dino, it's Camino Island is a long island, and I'm at the southern tip of the island, slightly on the east side of the island. So I'm not getting the direct northwest Pacific Ocean weather, and I also get eastern morning sun in the morning. And with it being on the tip of an island, it gets magnificent airflow. It's some of the best oxygen you can ever find.
Man, and can you come to Seattle quicker by a boat, or is it driving still the best?
Yeah, there's a highway. I have to drive north and then cross a couple of very small bridges and then come south. So really from Seattle, you have to drive about 55 minutes north and then go to the southern end of the island. So it's actually not.
There's no fast boat that can bring you from your place to Seattle in no time.
Excuse me?
You don't have a fast boat that can get you to Seattle faster than driving around.
I might have to get a fast boat. Froda.
There is no public transportation.
Hello, I'm here.
You turned off your video, Froda.
Sorry about the delay. I'm at my club and we're not allowed to take any pictures, including video conferences here.
Where are you?
It's at the Groucho Club. I'll take you when you're in London.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I was just sharing with Dino that my official transfer paperwork from eGain was received yesterday. And I also put in my deposit on the place that I was looking at up in the area just north of Seattle, about an hour and a half. So if everything goes well and nothing kills this deal, I will move in on June 22nd.
Big time congratulations for that. Very, very good to hear.
Congratulations for me too.
Yeah, thanks. And I was also telling Dino that this is on the southern end of an island, Froda. So it gets very, very good oxygen. There's very good wind flow. Some of the best oxygen you can get from actually literally ocean air. So the feng shui there is, I can't imagine better feng shui. You guys have to.
I look forward to coming to be productive there with you.
Absolutely. You should come for weeks at a time and, we can just get a lot done. Bring Emily, we can de-stress, we can enjoy the wilderness, lots of green trees, lots of water. Oh, some of the best crab in the Pacific Northwest.
Have you named the place?
Not yet. I haven't thought about that yet.
You have to find a way to combine both Bergen and Dubrovnik in the name.
That's a challenge. But you're the marketing guy, I'm not the marketing guy.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yes.
Oh, talking of marketing, you know already that Peter Norvig is joining us, but also 2 to 3, I'm not sure exactly, of my quote-unquote competitors will be joining us at the Future of Text, developers of other Mac word processors. I'm really happy about that.
Okay. Which ones?
IA Writer, oh God, I can't even remember now because I just sent so many emails and quite a few people came back saying this is very interesting. So yeah, very happy about that. Just wanted to mention. So we can start having seriously large meetings at your place with all kinds of developers coming in and shaking their heads about.
Yes. And oh, by the way, just for Dino's sake, I told Froda this yesterday, but over the weekend, I met with a very accomplished, very seasoned, very skilled software developer named Dan Espenson. He's a friend of Bill's and others, Jennifer's, Kimberly's, etc. And he and I spoke about Time Browser. And so he's going to review the materials. And then after he reviews, we're going to talk again. But he's one of these people that really likes getting involved in new and interesting projects. So we'll see where that goes. And what is your status?
That's very exciting. Sorry, I'm just going to say that's really exciting. What were you going to say next?
I was going to ask you, what is the state of your discussions with Bjorn Borud?
Bjorn is too busy hanging out with the Norwegian Prime Minister, so I haven't talked to him for a couple of days. I don't know what he's working on. He will give me some update at some point.
He thinks it's more important than Time Browser?
Well, apparently for a while, but I'm also having problems simplifying the document. And since you guys don't use, well, you guys, that doesn't include you, Dino, don't use author, I have to share it with you in such a horrible manner. So that reduces productivity, you know. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I should be doing more. I've been spending too much time on getting author materials ready for launch and future of text. It's going to be a really good one. I really, really hope you can come across, Dino. I know your schedule is tight at the moment, but if you can. Have you looked at the list of confirmed people on the website, by the way, Dino?
Dino, are you there? You're on mute, Dino. Dino, you're still on mute. Off to the left, down at the bottom. The microphone icon. Dino? This is a human system coevolution issue.
I mean, oh, man, okay, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, I was on mute, and I was saying that last time I did, which was a few days ago, Peter Nurik was not there, but I saw all kinds of other amazing people. So my sense is easily shaping up in an amazing way.
Cool.
So Frode, if this is the case, should we not start up weekly, if not more frequent, FOT planning calls?
We could do Fridays, maybe.
Or should we take one of the Mondays or Tuesdays and instead of both on Time Browser, do one on FOT? Because Fridays, I'm only available every other Friday.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Let's get back to that towards the end of the call where we have our looking into the future bit. But did you guys get to start talking about what Dino sent out about yesterday's Skype call? Because I'd like to know what's going on there.
Yesterday's Skype call? Oh, the one I did not attend.
The one both you and me unfortunately missed. Dino, what are you drinking? Is that an espresso?
No. This is a puer tea.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe.
Ah, good man. He's a good tea man.
Okay.
He's one of the best.
Yes.
Could be the best in the world, but I'm not. No, it cannot be the best in the world. But
here, Dino.
Yes. This is Peter's. David's unbelievable mixture of puer teas, which have a very good effect. But let's talk about this for a little moment. What Frode was suggesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Because this really has to do with all kinds of things. I'm writing a blog post. This is in the midst of a storm of all kinds of things. I'm writing a blog post which is trying to reasonably order and organize and communicate this storm of all kinds of things, because this, I feel, is now what is important. It's a storm of all kinds of things turning into a movement, basically, into something hugely coherent and then also potentially hugely powerful. So we'll have some stories to tell. But concretely, Collabo framework. As I said, the brothers are now in Colombia. Actually, last night I was online with them while they were having a workshop in Colombia. And I don't know how much time we should spend on the workshop itself, but it's one of the beads in our necklace. Now, we're talking about a systemic prototype, which is the Collabo framework, and we are talking about all kinds of places where this thing has been used and tried, and from which we learn. And so, man, I don't know. The moment I start talking about this, I realize that there are several threads which I could follow, and each one of them might take 5 minutes or so. And so maybe I just pause here and let you ask questions, and we follow your stream of thought rather than mine. Gentlemen, help me out here. We're talking about Collabo framework and this workshop that I invited you yesterday to, but let's turn this into a proper conversation, because otherwise I might lose you.
What I saw was a very last-minute request for 1-minute videos. And I didn't really read much more than that. But the objective of the workshop and how it connects to Amigos in 30 seconds or less, what is that connection?
We are talking about an enabling technology. We're talking about the technology that can really make a difference. And this is what it is. Collabo framework is that kind of technology. This is 30 seconds or less. The interesting question is why, right? And that might take 2 minutes or so, but let me pause here and see.
So, you know,
it's an enabling technology for systemic evolution. Okay, so the framing, I'm using this framing in the blog post, I can tell you that much, is you have a bunch of Lego blocks on the table. And you have people, everything is virtual, of course, so these are metaphors, right? And you have people around the table. Some of the people around the table represent a community of interest. Let's say that the community of interest is digital humanities in the north, or system science, or banking. Whatever community would like to self-organize in a radically different way. Co-create with their own bodies a collective mind. Begin evolving the collective mind paradigm in their midst. Or in our language, bootstrapping the systemic innovation for the benefit of all. And so the enabling technology is a bunch of Lego blocks that people can use as technological components of the new socio-technical system, and also to connect with each other, to connect themselves in a new way. They need to be Lego blocks because the people around the table, they're going to configure their own system the way they like it, the way they want it. And then evolve this system continuously, right? So the system cannot be a straitjacket. It cannot be, okay, so this is how you are basically going to collaborate and communicate. No, it's Lego blocks. So these Lego blocks, that's Collabo science. And the brothers have created the first prototype of this thing. And what I want to pitch to you now is, this is the thingy. This is the technology I would really like us to focus on.
So if you and the brothers are focusing on this, and there have been, let's say, at least a half a dozen, if not more, other technology projects that have come by, there's something about this that grabs you that the others didn't, right? I include Time Browser, Global Sim, Tweetch, WYSIWYDO, Dictopedia, all those, as those that have come and gone, but Collabo Science resonates with you. So what's the grabber there that doesn't exist elsewhere?
A bunch of grabbers, the most important one being that it's a bus architecture, so that all the things that you are mentioning and others can be simply plugged in and interoperate to create processes for knowledge work.
So you don't see that DKR is that?
Sorry?
You don't see that the DKR has had that in the foundational principles of it?
No, look, I see DAG's open hyperdocument system as essentially profoundly that. I see open hyperdocument system as a piece of technology that DAG created, but as a prototype that embodies this principle. And the principle is, I couldn't think of anything that is as technology more important. And Doug talked and wrote, well, Doug didn't write so much, but he talked extensively about this, right? So he made it very clear that the open hyperdocument system is about that. This is, by the way, in those Stanford in the video of the Stanford seminar where you were a student. It's been a while, right? So maybe it would be worthwhile for you to visit.
I have rewatched those.
Excellent, excellent. Because there it is, right? This is where Doug was most clearly of all of the entire Doug's opus.
Did you watch all 3 days? There's a lot of videos.
Of course, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you know, I in the seminar I use, I guess, one day to both. I mean, first of all, I watch these things, but I go through Doug's slides that he used for this.
I still have
a lecture that is.
I still have the original books. This thick of slides.
Okay.
Yes.
Along the lines of what you're talking about, Dino, obviously the language is something that I agree with, and Sam does too. I think my concern is, and Sam, please tell me if you feel the same, that is that the open system to build like this, we cannot fall in the trap that Doug fell in later in his life, nor Ted, to build a closed new system. We all agree it has to be a really, really open system, not only in terms of open source, but also in terms of open data and access, right? Dino, you agree with that, right?
I don't know what, look, at this point, I'll stop my video too, if you want, so that we're just talking at this point. Let me think. I'm mostly in favor of federating this system. So how exactly it turns out, I don't want to say, right? I don't want to know.
Okay,
but, what the brothers have done is they have created essentially a first prototype which we can put in front of us and say, okay, so is this the system? Oh my God, no.
Okay, where is the prototype? Because the reason I ask is, if we can go through that now, I think that would be illuminating for all of us. So we have something concrete to look at.
No, the prototype is whatever we're talking about. It's physically on our server now at the University of Oslo. It is linked through something which is called, I think, collaboscience or collaboframework.org, maybe collaboscience.org. And so if you click on that thing, you get in, and you have to become a user and so on and so forth. But it exists, right? And yeah, let me pause.
Okay, because the reason I ask is I'd like to look at this, but I really think that it's hugely important to develop a system where the data can flow in all kinds of ways. I'm not interested in working on another information ghetto, which is what I would call it. I'm not saying that this is that. I'm not at all saying that. Just saying that it's a really important thing. So that's why I think it's very important that the project Sam is talking about can be woven into your dialogue on Polyscopy. Because I think both Sam and me feels a bit constrained that it's the Rudan brothers doing it. If we want to contribute with a module, then maybe they'll give us permission. At this point, it seems very distant, non-collaborative, and very closed. So I would love to find ways that author could contribute to this, for instance, so we can all work on the main thing, but also work on a very large information environment. Because I don't think, sorry, just as a really last important thing, I don't think we can build some groupware that everybody will do everything in. It's not going to happen. It's going to have to be components. Sam, do you agree with what I'm saying, or am I off beast?
No, look, I can speak for Sam. I believe we all hugely agree on this. This is exactly the point, right? The point is that this should be modeled somehow as a kind of an open source project where different people are creating modules and they all interoperate. But the basic, and also speaking about Peter Nurvik, right, or speaking about our potential lab here, speaking about our dear friend Alf Martin Johansson, speaking about anybody essentially. I have here my group at the Institute is called Software Engineering, and I've been talking about it to this group about let's begin a software project. So there are all kinds of possibilities that we can spin off. Once we have a good in principle, good initial design. And I don't think that the brothers have a good enough in principle initial design. I think we have to sit down and create it together. But what they have is, apologies for the rough language, a kind of a kick-ass first prototype, which is going to provoke us, right, to say, okay, we have been talking about this for ages, and look at this. The Rudan brothers, they have already created the prototype, and they're using it in all kinds of places in the world. So my sense is that we take that prototype, put it in front of us, and we begin designing the real thing. That's the next step. Gentlemen.
Sam.
It's in the hands of Rudan brothers. They have been, now the way the things are exactly, right? I'm here in a little bit of a PhD advisor also, and I have been twisting the arm of my not so easy to manage student named Sasha by telling him, look, to turn this into a PhD project, you need a good, well-specified, defined, and non-trivial design. Give me the design document. I haven't gotten it yet. So there is no design document at this point, but I have a little bit of leverage, so I can probably get it eventually. I think that they have been essentially creating this kind of thing ad hoc, which is probably okay, and they're probably the best people in the world to do it, because they're these creative, crazy ad hoc designers who can get into this kind of mess and do something. And by doing something, they create a tremendous amount of ideas, which we can then look at and try to systematize, make coherent, and so on. And my sense is that, exactly as Rude was saying, this is a collaborative project. It has to involve the whole community. And if you look at Dubrovnik program, the first day we're putting collaborology, or the collab science, in front of everybody. I have talked to Jack about this. So there are all kinds of people who have technical and other knowledge who I think can contribute tremendously. So at the latest in Dubrovnik, I think we will have the second stage in the development of this module.
Okay, that then begs another question. This is just to specify a bit more. Sorry, Sam. What is this system they're building really addressing, and what are they not? Maybe the three of us, while we're waiting for them, can address some of the components the system does not address.
As far as I'm concerned, the number of components that the system does not address is infinite. This is endless. What the system does address, there is a model of knowledge, right? They call it knowledge, but spelled as KN all edge, which is a kind of an IBIS thing, right? Similar to debate graph, representing a different way. If you look at the video, you will see it right away. And I shared the web page where you have it's a kind of I think a Google Doc or something, where you have you might remember, gentlemen, in my last email to you, this was shared, and there is a film on Vimeo which just shows this in 1 minute in action in Belgrade on the Tesla the Nature of Creativity thingy. Now, so there is a model of knowledge, right? This is like Dark. This is like Unix, right? You have a stream of characters, and everything is a stream of characters, and then you can easily create all kinds of gadgets like what are these things called? Pipes in Unix that transform the string of characters into another kind of string of characters. So this is the idea, right? That knowledge is a model of knowledge. And then you have all kinds of modules that operate on this thing. Okay? And this is how they become interoperable. And then once we have a specification of this kind of meta architecture, basic architecture, we can solicit all kinds of apps, modules that act, that transform knowledge into other kinds of knowledge. Now, I see your I don't see Fruda's face, but I see Sam's face, and he's deep in thought, which is totally appropriate, right? You can see the kind of mess we are getting into. Oh, Fruda is also deep in thought. Okay, very nice, very nice, very nice. But I hope you share with me the feeling that there is something profoundly right about the very direction this is taking. No, look, we really just have to play ball with the Rudan brothers. They will love to collaborate with everybody. It's just that they get crazily busy. You can imagine them now. They both flew to Colombia, and they are now in the midst of a situation which is just hugely, let's call it photogenic, right? It's really attractive. I can tell you the longest story. Yeah.
Dino, that's all well and fine, but what you're talking about one student of yours that's doing something interesting. Yeah, we would like to contribute to that, but you know, there's a couple of things I really think you need to keep in mind. One, they have not invited us. Two, they have not had any dialogue with us. Three, we also have projects that are trying to solve the same issues, and you know, when we try to bring them up to you, you know, you like the last call we had, there was a big shrug of Time Browser is irrelevant for now. That's not where we should be putting effort. We should be supporting the Rudan brothers who won't tell us what they're doing, how they're doing, what they want us to do, what it's involved with. You know, it's not very useful. It's not conducive. Can't you just say, we're waiting for them to come back. When they want to have a Skype call with us and give us more than 15 minutes warning, we will be there. We will do what we can. But in the meantime, can't you say, you know, Sam, what are you doing that relates to polyscopy? I would love to find out. Maybe we can integrate it. That's what I would like to hear. And I can see Sam nodding, which is nice.
Sam, what are you doing that is related to polyscopy? I would really like to hear that. And even unrelated to polyscopy. I, by the way, believe that all these things are hugely related to one another. I should say in parentheses, don't be jealous. The only reason why I'm why I'm pitching this Collabo framework project is because I think what we need is a meta architecture. This is Doug's OHS, right? And that will then, as a kind of a central hub, coordinate all our specific projects. I'm not against specific projects, on the contrary, right? But my sense is that we need some kind of architecture which will make it all interoperable. See what I'm aiming at, right? I'm aiming at a bunch of Lego blocks which you can put on the table and enable the people to co-create completely novel systems, whole systems with their own bodies. Nothing less than that will be an enabling architecture, and vice versa. That will be an enabling architecture. And once we have that thing, we can talk to big players and say, okay, look, they want to help us this. We can show you the kind of difference that this can make. And then, of course, listen to me, this is not excluding all specific projects. On the contrary, right? This is creating a good space for the specific projects so that we don't have to invest into them from our own pockets and things, which is kind of crazy. But we can really engage big players like the Norwegian government or Google or whatever to play ball with us, which is, you know, then we're talking business.
You know, I think that is quite perfect, and I know Sam agrees. I would just like to add that to some extent we have that. You know, we have the internet, we have domain name systems. We already have incredibly powerful, flexible ways to shunt information around. So as long as everything we deal with work to be able to support the data on top of that, it's hugely useful. I mean, Timur is being very helpful with Author at the moment, despite the fact that Author does nothing of what he wants. He expects me to be moving in a direction where it becomes much more like what you're saying. So Time Browser and everything we're doing has to follow those principles. Anyway, Sam, you drive. I like your screenshot, your desks, rather. So
I'm trying to put collaborative science.
the Rudon project fits in this one. Would that be a good place to start, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I want to put collaborative science somewhere in here, you know. And I don't know what color it is right now, but let's just say.
S is capital also, so this is good. Collabo science or Collabo framework. Like they have Collabo science and Collabo art, and then they have Collabo framework, which is the common name for both. Right, one word, Collabo framework. But in the overall DAG scheme of things, this assumes the role of open hyperdocument system. And you gentlemen might agree with me that this is one of the basic, big, major pieces of Doug Engelbart history and ideology. And that is, look what these characters have produced, right? They have produced an amazing number of tools, each of which has its own native document format and user interface and da 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 da. In other words, all you can do. I mean, this is a straitjacket, right? All you can do with Word, with Microsoft Word, is create classical traditional documents, because this is what this is made for. So the more you invest into that kind of technology, the more you are stuck with the kind of documents and formatting and things that, and not to speak about social processes, which is the main thing. What we want to design is a social, not only design, we want to enable the evolution of social processes. How do you enable the evolution of social processes if you give people the tools that fix them in existing social processes? Because they just, you know, embody the traditional ways of doing things. So come on, guys. Open hyperdocument system, it's in the DAG scheme of things, it's one of the basic ideas, one of the most basic foundational building blocks. And this is what we need to produce, basically. Call it Collabo science or something else.
The OHS2 really is another name for the DKR. So those two are synonymous.
Sorry?
The DKR and OHS are synonymous in Doug's vernacular.
I use them in a little bit different way, but you can say that they're synonymous. That's okay.
So when I go back to this little saying that to me means a lot, you know. I don't care how much the Rudin brothers know until I know how much they care. And by that I mean, if they take a few hours of exposure to Doug and are running with what they believe is a DKR, then we run into the same problem that Doug ran into, which is that he has such a wide breadth of use cases and user stories that, you know, if somebody hears just one subset of them and runs and builds it and is not aware of what the other use cases and user stories are, then Doug was basically saying, okay, you know, that's great, but what about this and what about that? Even Froda got a little bit of that from Doug. And so unless they're, you know, showing that they really are embracing, it is, I think, a little bit premature to say everything that we will do is going to be based on that. We don't know yet whether or not they've actually taken all these different possible projects / use cases and scenarios and applications into consideration. Now, you could say, oh, yeah, it's very general. Obviously, we can build all of that on top of this. But, you know, from a product development standpoint, there's got to be the vision, the ownership, as well as the implementation. And if the documentation, the visions don't exist to convey the vision, then all we have is the implementation. And if the prototype stops, you know, well short of what is anticipated, then where does one actually provide feedback and how to provide feedback if the vision is not available, the user stories are not available, the application scenario is not available, and even the end product is not available? At least Flora and I are trying to work on the vision and the user stories, so it's at least possible to collaborate on that. And that's what I have a problem, not a problem, but there's a huge challenge in collaboration with the Rudan brothers, not to mention which any meeting of, with them, you're only allowed to speak maybe about 3 sentences. And then that's okay.
Yeah, but hey, you know, it's the crazy world we are living in, and the Rudan brothers are not the craziest part of it. I totally agree with everything you say, except that I see it maybe a little bit more positively. You know, perhaps the best way for them to engage is not, I mean, you can say Sasha has been studying the Doug Engelbart opus in my Doug Engelbart seminar, but he typically comes and brings a drawing block and he's drawing, so he's multitasking even in that seminar, which can easily drive me up the wall. The reason why I mention this is, you know, they go off and do their own thing. And surely, quite surely, it's not the last word we want to say about that thing. But that's probably the best way for the Rudan brothers to get engaged and create all kinds of ideas, right? And then at a certain point, we then sit together around this thing, and surely they will see the benefit of exactly that, sitting together with all of us around that thing. And taking a closer look and creating exactly what you are asking for, and that is an infrastructure, how we can collaborate around this thing and properly co-design. Now, as everything else in Knowledge Federation, this thing is by design such that it's a prototype. That means that it must be completely open and put in front of everybody, and everybody will then be able to contribute to its evolution and design. That thing has not been, as you very well said, has not yet been done. But isn't that the beautiful next step? As soon as they are back, now Sasha is getting married, as you know, so we need.
No, I did not know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, so let me follow up on that one.
Hang on, just as a quick aside, Dino, we are not in that part of group of your community. We haven't talked. I have not talked to either one of them outside of Dubrovnik. Right, so it's good that you're wanting to involve us, but you know, we don't even know the basics. It's very hard for us to know what's going
on. My dear gentlemen, you in your mind you may not be involved, right? But in my mind, you are not only involved. You're the central part of you're the transdiscipline. Everything that happens has to go through you, basically. Including the lighthouse and including the collab science, they're completely central pieces. And now, if you say we haven't really developed that practice yet, I will say we haven't, but isn't that a central part of our work together? In other words, we have to develop a way in which we operate really as a transdiscipline, meaning that whatever is being designed is somehow put openly in front of our eyes, and we can collaborate on it. Collab science to begin with.
Please continue, Sam.
Well, one of the ways I wanted to follow up on your question, Dino, is this particular view that I'm showing that is derived from time browsing. And this basically is a way to show that there is a multi-level bus architecture that's already anticipated, at least in this diagram, where there's time, and then there's the raw record, and then there are extracted annotations, and then annotations can actually enable and empower other annotations that sort of, get higher and higher in abstraction until there are artifacts like blogs and papers and books and videos and tours and movies and films and documentaries, etc. So there is already a notion here. And I do think that always we have this case. You can see that I and Foda use our terminology. You and the Rudan brothers use your terminology. Fundamentally, that's why I propose something like a Dictopedia, where if they're talking bus architecture and we're talking a time spine, maybe those map together, and then maybe here there's a blackboard thing, and maybe there it's called the bus. Those are, again, ways to map these ideas together. But for that curiosity to exist in order to do the mapping is an expenditure of energy. If that curiosity does not exist, if I'm not curious enough to say, Dino, what is the general framework of polyscopy? What are the elements of polyscopy? If I'm not curious enough to expend that energy, or if you're not curious enough to expend the energy of, Sam, what are the elements of collaborology? What is Twitch all about? Why does Dictopedia exist? Do we really travel with each other's, language? If we don't have that curiosity, then we end up creating silos. And we've been doing that, just as every other smart person has. There's a silo everywhere. And the fundamental problem, which I've called the smart people problem, is we don't expend enough in understanding each other's models and each other's previous work, with a few exceptions. Now, Frode and I believe we've been very regular attending these Thursday calls to try and really understand polyscopy. There are other invitations to understand collaborology, to understand global sim, to understand LC, to understand even author, understand future of text. I would really invite us to examine whether or not those invitations get the same regular expenditure and investment of energy as is being shown on these Thursday calls. And without that, then there's this, my versus you problem, which is something that's really triggered us before. But we're really finally getting around to the cost of that issue. The cost is we therefore cannot find a way to collaborate because I think we've got some ideas here. You think you've got some ideas there. There very well is a mapping, but we don't expend the time to do that mapping. So we don't find a way to collaborate. That's the hugest cost of the smart people problem. Over.
Now look, I really make an effort to be there on Wednesdays. Maybe you sense that. It's very huge on my priority list. Yesterday I was traveling from Croatia, but I was at the same time sending messages and saying, okay, so I have just landed. Here I am, I can be online. And so, so the point is, from my body language, you can sense that I'm prioritizing this hugely. And if you say I'm not listening enough and not collaborating enough and not communicating enough, that's music to my ears. I'm probably not, and I would like to do it more. And isn't that again the direction in which we are going? So I fully agree with you. And in fact, but at the same time, you might be just talking to the wrong guy, because look, collaborology is created exactly to put us all together and to allow everybody to both create a 1 hour overview of our whole opus, and then create a document from which everything is linked and so on and so forth, so that we can properly begin putting our knowledge together. That's the mornings, and then after the afternoons are about creating projects together. So I really make an effort to bring us all into a situation where proper collaboration can happen. I know I can do more and I want to do more, but I am aware of both the problem and I'm working on the solution.
In my view, one of the best ways that I can propose using Wednesdays is to say it's collaborology and COI, where really we are trying to understand the collaborative effort being expended on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and really do the Wednesdays as a study in collaborology, but also a chance to really study our actual collaboration and where it has succeeded and where we still have challenges and where we still have some differences in understanding. And I think that will push the field of collaborology forward faster than anything. That will be embracing collaborology and COI and really practicing and really living it. And that's what I propose Wednesdays to be. It's not just me lecturing about what I think collaborology is. It's actually, really trying to take those ideas and see how they manifest in our conversations throughout the rest of the week. And that is something I have welcomed and invited and tried to build some momentum around ever since the second half of 2013. So it's been almost 3 years. But it's really crucial. And until we do that, collaborology and COI is all just talk.
I fully agree. I couldn't think of anything that should be given higher priority than what you just mentioned.
Then I have a very clear, at least, agreement from you, Dino, and I appreciate that. Frode, how does that sound to you?
Yeah, spending more time on that makes sense.
Excellent. Then actually starting next Wednesday, I will moderate some conversations around how the ideas of collaborology and COI are showing up in the other calls throughout the week. And I think those will turn out to be quite fruitful. And I am very optimistic. I'll write this up in an invitation/announcement to the rest of our community.
Now, let me tell you, I wouldn't mind you taking some time to lecture, actually, to organize, your thoughts, because maybe part of it is that I live at the university, but I will not be offended if you basically teach your ideas and future and past projects.
Yeah, in fact, I will probably take some leeway in doing so, but I don't want to spend the entire time doing that. I want to do that in those 2 or 3 minutes where I feel it's appropriate, where I feel I've done some previous thinking, in order not for me to prescribe my ideas, but to actually just propose them as a way to understand what's happening and to get some feedback. All right?
Anything you want. So it's your show on Wednesdays, but I'm just saying you can teach to your heart's desire. I don't mind. I don't feel you have to. It has to be the dialogue all the time for me to.
Very good. I appreciate that, Dino, and I will take the opportunity to do so starting next Wednesday.
Excellent.
I will actually point out that yesterday I did come prepared with an outline of collaborology topics, and maybe I'll use that outline next Wednesday as well as the previous presentation that I had, because I do have some, let's say there's several artifacts. There's these diagrams, there's collaborapedia.info, there's the presentation that I shared a couple months ago, and then there's this outline that I've been working on. So all of those are kind of different artifacts that sort of probe into this space that I'm calling collaborology.
Sam, can we try to coordinate all these things in the following way? Let's imagine some kind of bus, whatever we want to call it, right? And let's imagine a bunch of apps that enable the creation of innovative processes for knowledge work. And then, the same story, right? But let's try to understand what might be a reasonable or even complete set of apps or set of tools, set of things, and what those processes might be like. Would that be okay as
Yes, in fact, I believe I have proposed that. I think, this diagram, for example, with Dictopedia in the middle, with Time Browser, with WYSIWYG, with DKR2, with the identity infrastructure, with CCCs, with Global SIM, with Global Viz, is my current model. And if you actually add to that author and Liquid and, possibly some other works like, speech to text, videography technologies, layout technologies, animation technologies, AI technologies, analytics, there's a picture beginning to form. But the ones that I believe are crucial, and I've believed this crucial now ever since, 5-6 years ago, are the ones that I've got in blue on this diagram. Because those are ones, and I'm ignoring the ones that others are already working on and spending a lot of energy on, clearly, okay? But I don't see investment in the kind of Time Browser, scenarios, Wikipedia scenarios, annotators, DKRs, global viz, global sim, identity infrastructure. And I've actually made allusion to these before, and I'm gradually ramping up the amplitude of these suggestions, because I do believe the more I hear, the more I discuss, the more I see other projects, the more I see the problems around collaboration, I see that Wikipedia really solves a problem. The WYSIWYDO really solves a problem. The time browser really solves a problem. The global sim really solves a problem. Identity, CCC, global viz, all of them solve problems. Even this
Author solves a problem. Liquid solves a problem. That was a
Yeah.
commercial message brought to you by.
And these are problems that I don't see being addressed elsewhere, or at least not very strongly, or at least not in an Engelbartian sense. And that's why I make this offer, and that's why I'm really trying to put these diagrams together to show there is some history here, there is some thinking. Even though I don't have a lot of assets and I don't have a lot of working code, these are things which I would like to see become real.
Sam, I can say now we are speaking, and I really mean it. Now, involving Rudan brothers, I can think of two possible ways. One is to have them watch these videos. Another way is to invite them into this conversation and authorize our amigo Frude to sort of coordinate and prep them properly so that they don't take over. To have everybody understand that this is Sam's show and not their show. But at the same time, because you have been thinking about these things much longer than they. I still think that for them, the best way to get going was to just dive into it and basically create the whole thing. It's, it's a different form of learning. You create, but now I think that since they have been through some of this, they might be really, really ready to listen. And I think it could be also to everybody's benefit to bring you and them together, and all of us kind of, playing along, listening, and so on, and just see what emerges.
Look, I think this is something that is also music to my ears, because in my view, I don't think in the space of Engelbartian thought and vision and whatever, I don't think I'm a good implementer, okay? I'm not current on the skills, but what I think I would love to be, this is my dream, okay, is in fact to be kind of a product owner for ALF, for the Rudan brothers, perhaps, even for Frode, certainly for myself, and to sort of see how these things, are put together, how they complement each other, the user stories, the application scenarios, the integration points, the bigger problems that they solve, how they respond to Engelbartian principles as I understand it, how they take us closer to the Engelbart vision as I see it. And certainly I want to have all that, be not just me, but, I certainly see it a certain way, and I want to invite others into that discussion and that exploration. And if I'm actually then deep on one project like Time Browser, then unfortunately, and this is something I have to get through, this might be a personality flaw in me, then I see that I am going to have to let go of Global Sim or Global Viz or Identity Infrastructure or CCZs or whatever. Or if I dive deep into one project with the Rudan brothers, I do that also. And if I dive deep into Author and Liquid, then I also do the same thing. So I may be looking for an unrealistic role to play, but I would love to be a product owner in the Engelbart space.
My dear friend, I don't know exactly what product owner for you means, that you will have to explain, but I can tell you that this is the role that I have been seeing for you for quite some time. And this is the role that I would like very much you to step into. And this is also the role where, as much as I'm able to coordinate things out there, which is my main passion, this is the role I have been actually creating for you. And the thing is, you are at this point the leader of the program for the future, and you are also technical enough to translate Doug's vision into concrete things. So you're the guy, right? And my sense is that this role is something that has to exist in reality in a visible and powerful way. Do you agree with me?
I do, and I also want to stress that this role is not singular. I am not, quote unquote, the guy. I am a guy that does this. I don't.
No, of course. Look, we are all guys, but the thing is that in the simple world out there, it's good to link people with roles and things. So we're thinking icons, we're thinking. You see what I mean? And so that's basically if I have a card which says Sam Hahn and has this lovely beard and things on. When I play that card, I know why I play it, right? It means something.
So, Dino, this is my dream. And you're the first person to really resonate very strongly with me on this dream. Frode, I'm not meaning to ignore you, but, to get it in words, to say, this is the role I want to play, and to be able to lay out these kind of space diagrams, these overarching, in a sense, architectures of how things get put together, and then to really drill down into specific constraints and principles and requirements and user stories, let's say, for each of these boxes, whether it's Wikipedia, CCCs, etc., and then to be able to pop out and see how they integrate, not just within themselves, but with other things in the ecosystem, like the internet, like, HTML6, whatever it's going to be, like, the way browser technology is going to evolve, or the way the brand new infrastructure is going to get created around semantic objects, or the way, the IoT is going to work. All of that is where I like to play. And if I can find a way to make that sustainable for myself and valuable for the community, then I can die happy.
Okay, so as your manager, not manager, what is it called? When I say manager, I mean the kind of guy who is the promoter. Like you're a movie star, and I'm your, what is this thing called?
Agent.
That's your agent, right? Yeah, that's what I meant. As your agent, right? You might appreciate this little act that we did with the former Soviet Union guys. You received a CC of the email.
Yes, and I've been responding to Ivan, right?
Right. See, this is I didn't see any more correspondence. I guess you're corresponding directly. But the story is basically this, right? These people, they're opening up to the West and so on. And here comes, well, one of the divinities of the Silicon Valley. He passed away, turned out, but here is the next guy in line. I'm connecting you to him directly, or them to you. And the intro is this whole thing. We may not be able to reproduce the Silicon Valley, but hey, we could be able to actually do a lot more, which is this 96.4%. And would you guys like to talk about this? So we're playing with that kind of situations, and potentially they're very, very powerful situations. These people are embedded in the structures out there, right? You see what I'm telling you?
Yes. So anyway, this call has been hugely optimistic for me, because I don't know how to make it real, but if even one other person like you, and maybe even another person like Frode, actually agrees that this is actually a role that not only I want to play, but could be embraced and welcomed, boy, then I've found my family, basically.
My sense is that we have these roles. They are like they're in the flow of things. We basically yield to them, right? They drive us, and so my sense is that this is your role, and then it's just a question of how we dance together to make it all happen, basically.
Frode, I'd like to get a sense of you. I mean, does this language sound? I don't want to say right, but does it sound like there's a direction here that makes sense, or what do you make of it?
Yeah, this is something I agree with. I mean, we have to try to look at a big picture and also implement and keep doing both. Because, no disrespect to you, Sam, or any other human being, I would say that it's obvious that none of us are intelligent enough to pre-visualize this system, and I know you agree with that.
Absolutely.
That's why I think it's very important to have someone who takes ownership of that role, and then we can hammer out, like I can take ownership of Time Browser for a while, for instance, and I will say it'll do this and that, and you will say, well, you're ignoring this thing over here. As I've said many times, and I know you also agree on this, the importance of roles cannot be overstated.
Right. I mean, it's maybe even the role is not the good kind of word. I think very much in terms of creating a story, a good story, simple story, the story that can stick. And so as we go along, right, and we are all complex people and in complex situations, so any kind of story will be an oversimplification. But nonetheless, right, these are the myths, these are the things that really hit. So in the myth, right, you can appreciate just how everybody's story basically fits into the larger story. And I'm actually writing the larger story because, you know, like, for example, a thrivability strategy is that story. I'm writing it and I'm telling it. And I'm also creating it, obviously, right? And so then, yeah, go ahead.
This little nugget of potential is something I really want to cogitate and actually, you know, sit with and feel for quite a while, because like I'm telling you, you know, this period of transition for me is welcome. It's somewhat risky, but it's full of opportunity. And if this can pull me in a gravitational sense, I'm very willing. And I am very happy to play this role. And I want to find collaborators with whom this role is comfortable and welcome. And that's why I'm seeking to get feedback from you, not just Dino and Frode, but you, whomever would actually be listening to this later.
Dino, what is your concern about the use of the word roles?
My point here is that when I speak like this, for example, if I talk about the word role, then I'm thinking in terms of creating some kind of big picture scenario which everybody can understand and relate to, right? Okay, so this has become a reality. Look, we have, so the roles are kind of like archetypes, like you identify a person as an icon with the role, and the role is largely abstract. I don't know if I'm answering your question, Frode, help me out.
I mean, the reason I use the word role, and I think it's a very important thing and important word, and that is the short while that I was a full-time teacher, you know, students listen to me. Usually students, teenagers don't listen to anybody. So that's when I really, really had it hammered in, the importance of roles. Who the hell am I? I am your teacher. That is my role. I'm not better or worse than you, but that's my role. So I think that if we do what Sam is talking about, his role is big picture, then my role can be something else, your role can be something else. I think it's easier, because if you have everybody in the same kitchen with the same role of being head chef, nothing gets made.
Precisely. We all, in reality, we all collaborate, right? But when we approach other people, then it's much, much easier for them to understand even the system we are creating together when they identify roles, identify people in a certain role. For example, right? Let's say I'm talking to my innovation hub here, and I'm pitching to them, let's say, Doug Engelbartian things, right? Perfectly reasonable, perfectly fine. If I put myself into the role of translating Doug Engelbartian, it's, you know, it's kind of okie-dokie. It's maybe it can work, maybe it won't work. But isn't Sam Hahn an infinitely better person for this, for all kinds of reasons? You know, he's situated in Silicon Valley. He's breathing the air. He was breathing the air with Doug Engelbart for many years. I'm saying, look, guys, I'm going to connect you with Sam Hahn. And Frode, by the way, who is in a similar situation, developing concrete things and tools that extend the Engelbart's vision, right? So if I put myself into this connector role, I am actually much more powerful than if I say I'm the god after the machine, I'm going to do all this for you. You see the point?
Absolutely, absolutely, Dino.
Yeah. And this is, by the way, this is obviously the game I'm playing here. I'm really not interested in promoting myself. I'm interested in the vision and the mission happening. And so we have several of these scenarios. One is Oslo, obviously. One is Google. One is the Soviet Union, and there will surely be others.
I think we should all try to talk to Timur more about this. He's definitely part of our team, of course, but I think he can be even more central to some of these ideas, Dino.
Surely. But I'm actively speaking with a bunch of these characters. For example, right, this Saturday, I'm giving a webinar to this Metaversity. Metaversity is this university, so this will be obviously recorded and things, right? And I will be talking about Doug Engelbart, his vision, and then how Knowledge Federation Plus is extending the vision into reality. So I'm purely pitching our story to these guys. And as you can imagine, they're all innovators, right? They're all, and they're also, I have sensed that many of them are hugely talented guys, which means that they have resources to get to other people who matter. In 20 minutes or so, I will be talking with Joshua in Canada, who is another one of those amazing personalities.
I'm realizing that I have no video. I'm just sitting here nodding.
Very good. No, I'm hugely happy that you, Sam, are reducing your time engagement with eGain and freeing yourself, in every sense. Also going into this living situation, which is, I really sense that this is part of the same flow. It's what has to happen, or what wants to happen.
I appreciate that. I feel much the same way. I am somewhat apprehensive about the 40%, but optimistic that I will fill it productively. And I'm really, really happy that if this concludes with my taking possession of the place on June 22nd, it is a fabulous place for us to meet. And I'm really looking forward to doing that a lot.
Me too. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
My sense is actually get the keys on the 22nd. I'm going to issue invitations to each and every one of you. Come on down. I've got extra bedrooms. I want that to be Collaborology Central.
Fantastic. This is what was so good about this meeting in Prague. I sense that energy, right? I sensed often right, I have the word. The word is traumatized. It sounds like a kind of a dramatic word, like vast exaggeration, but I realized that I have been traumatized by these experiences of talking with people about things that I feel have to happen in every sense, and feeling that they don't resonate, they don't react. It's as if they're already a little bit dead or quite a bit dead. And it's a traumatic experience for me. And vice versa, right? I'm saying this in a most hugely positive way because I realize how de-traumatizing the experience of Prague has been. When you're surrounded by 40 people who really all get it and who really all want to do the obvious thing. Yeah.
I apologize. I have a dental appointment in 31 minutes and I completely forgot about it. I have to get going to my dental appointment. And I really apologize because I know this has been a great call. I really appreciated this call, especially, your support, Dino, and just the framing of it, what my role could possibly be. Same way, Frode, I really appreciate, in whatever form you're supporting that. I am going to deeply ponder how I can embrace this role, how I can then, be that how I can message that to others, and possibly use this to build the rest of my life. So deep things are happening with me. I really want to express appreciation for this. Unfortunately, I have to go get my teeth cleaned. My apologies.
No apologies.
I'll leave this going, okay? I'll leave this going so you guys can continue, but I will drop off at this point, okay?
No, I have to drop off also because I have 15 minutes to rest a little bit. But I think this is a great point to stop, Sam, because I couldn't say anything that that would extend into what you just said. So let's stay with that.
Excellent. Are we talking tomorrow, maybe? Well, let's see what happens. Everybody, bye for now.
Right. I won't be able to talk tomorrow because there is another call.
Okay.
Ciao.